The night was quiet in the countryside. Ethan sat alone on his porch, drinking warm tea and staring at the dark sky. The stars were bright, and the moon was full. It was peaceful until a loud crashing sound broke the silence. Boom! The sound came from the woods behind his farmhouse. Birds flew out in panic. The ground shook a little. What the hell was that? Ethan stood up, grabbing his flashlight and jacket. He walked into the trees, following the smoke. After a few minutes, he saw that something had fallen from the sky. It had crashed into the ground, burning the grass around it. A small metal pod, half open, with strange glowing lines on it. Ethan moved closer, slowly, his heart beating fast. He heard soft crying, a voice, a girl's voice. "Please, don't send me back." He stopped. His eyes widened. A young girl, maybe 17 or 18, was lying on the grass. Her skin was pale with a faint blue glow. Her hair was silver, her eyes large and bright purple. She looked weak. Scared, she looked at him, tears falling from her eyes. "I'll be a good girl," she whispered. "I promise, just let me stay." Ethan knelt beside her. Hey, it's okay. I won't hurt you. Are you hurt?" She shook her head slowly, but her hands were shaking. Where am I?" she asked. "You're on Earth. A small farm. Who are you?" She didn't answer at first. She looked around, afraid. "My name is Aylin," she said quietly. "Please don't call them. Don't let them take me." Ethan didn't understand. "Call who?" She didn't reply. She closed her eyes, breathing fast. Ethan saw strange marks on her arm scars, small metal pieces under her skin. He helped her stand. She could barely walk. "Come with me," he said. "Let's get you out of here." Ethan hid her in the old barn behind his house. He gave her a blanket and water. She sat in the corner, looking around like a frightened animal. He asked her again, "Are you human?" She looked down. "Half," she said. "I was made, not born." Ethan blinked. "Made? In a place? Not on this world. I escaped. I don't want to go back." She pulled up her sleeve. There were strange lights running under her skin. Technology mixed with flesh. "They trained me to serve humans," she said softly. "But not with kindness, only fear. I was a project." Ethan felt cold. "What kind of project?" "I don't know the full plan," she whispered. "But I think I was designed to be the perfect companion. Obedient, quiet, always smiling. But I started to feel things. Sadness, anger, hope." She looked up at him. "They said I was broken." Later that night, Ethan stood outside the barn, watching the sky. His phone lost signal. The radio was dead. Lights in the house flickered. Then he saw it, a dark shape in the sky, silent, triangle-shaped, floating without sound. It had no lights, no windows. It just hovered. Watching, Ethan rushed back to the barn. "They're here, aren't they?" Aylin nodded slowly. "Yes, they always find me." "What do they want?" "To take me back or erase me." Ethan didn't know what to do. He looked into her eyes. They weren't alien. They were human, afraid, tired, alive. "I don't care what you are," he said finally. "You're safe here, I promise." She smiled for the first time. A small, broken smile. "Thank you," she said. "I just want to feel free." Outside, the silent ship in the sky slowly moved away, but Ethan knew it would come back, and next time. It might not be alone. The rain fell slowly that morning. Soft, quiet, almost like the sky was trying not to wake the world. Ethan stared at the girl sleeping in the barn. She looked peaceful now. Her silver hair shimmered in the low light, and her chest rose and fell slowly. She didn't seem dangerous. But deep inside, he knew this was not just a girl. She was something else. Something from the stars, and the stars wanted her back. Later, She sat near the barn door, hugging her knees. Her eyes looked at everything like it was new. The wind, the grass, the smell of wet wood. She kept asking simple questions. What is that sound? She asked. Birds, Ethan said. And that one? Wind chimes. She smiled like a child. It's all so soft. Then she turned serious. Where I was, there were no soft things. Ethan sat down across from her. Where exactly were you, Aylin? She didn't speak for a long moment. Then, slowly, she touched the back of her neck. They called it Section 7. It was not a place for living. It was a place for testing. Ethan leaned forward. Testing what? Obedience, she whispered. Pain, emotion control. I wasn't supposed to feel, but something went wrong. I started feeling, he frowned. So you're not just a machine? She looked up. Her eyes glowed slightly. I was made, but not cold. Not empty. I have thoughts, memories. And now I have fear. That night, Ethan gave her clean clothes. A hoodie and jeans. She changed behind an old curtain in the barn. When she stepped out, she looked normal, almost human. She twirled once, smiling. Do I look Earth Girl enough now? Ethan laughed softly. Close enough. They ate together simple food. Bread, soup, and apples. Aylin touched the apple. Like it was treasure. It's real, she said. They never gave us real food, just gray blocks. Like prison? No, she replied. Prisoners get rights. We were property. Ethan clenched his jaw. You're not property anymore. But even as he said it, he heard a soft beep from her chest. She froze. No, Ethan watched in shock as she pulled down her shirt slightly. A small light was blinking under her skin near her collarbone. They're tracking me, she whispered. They always put a tag. So we never stay free for long. In the morning, Ethan called an old friend, Jake, a tech guy who owed him a favor. They drove Aylin in the back of an old van. She hid under blankets, shaking. Jake lived off-grid in a cabin, filled with computers and wires. When he saw Aylin, he blinked. Whoa, you didn't say she was glowing. She needs help, Ethan said. There's a tracker in her. Jake scanned her neck and chest. Yep, alien tech, but also man-made. Weird mix. Like they built her in layers. Can you get it out? I'll try, Jake said. But if I remove it, they'll know. Aylin looked at Ethan, fear in her eyes. Do it, she said. I'd rather die free. Jake began his work. It took hours. Aylin didn't scream, even when it hurt. She only squeezed Ethan's hand. Finally, the small black chip was out. It pulsed once, then died. Jake placed it on the table. There, you're off the leash. But at that exact moment, all lights in the cabin blinked. The screen showed static. Then a single message appeared. Tag removed. Subject unsecured. Engage retrieval unit. Ethan stood up. What the hell is that? Jake's face turned pale. You've got maybe 12 hours. Maybe less. Aylin was already backing toward the door. They're coming. Outside in the sky above the trees, something shimmered. A silent shape, black, watching. Ethan and Aylin drove back fast, through dark forest roads. I'm sorry, Aylin whispered. I never wanted to bring danger to your home. You didn't, Ethan said. They did. She looked out the window. They always said I was broken. Maybe I am. You're not broken, Ethan replied. You're just, finally, alive. She smiled, just a little. If they find me, promise me something. What? Don't let them erase me, even if I'm gone. Remember me as someone real. He nodded slowly. I promise. That night, Ethan sat awake in the barn, holding an old shotgun. Aylin slept nearby, wrapped in blankets, and far above them. Something moved in the stars again, something coming, something hunting. The dogs stopped, barking. It happened just after midnight. Ethan noticed it first. Total silence. No crickets, no owls. Even the wind had disappeared. He stepped out of the house barefoot, shotgun in hand, scanning the tree line. His breath was warm in the cold air. The barn door stood slightly open. Inside, Aylin wasn't asleep. Any more. She was sitting upright, eyes wide, her body frozen like prey sensing a predator. "They're here," she said, not loud. Not panicked, just certain. Ethan locked the house, turned off every light, and pulled Aylin into the basement. His hands were shaking. "Explain," he whispered. Aylin closed her eyes. "They're called retrieval units. They don't speak. They don't leave footprints. And they don't care if you're human." Ethan frowned. "What do they look like?" "You don't see them," she said. "You feel them. They erase sound, erase heat. Even erase memories if they get too close." Ethan swallowed hard. Outside in the trees, something moved without making a single sound. In town the next day, strange men arrived. All dressed in black. No names. No IDs. Military types, but not any Ethan recognized. They went door to door, asking about strange lights, odd behavior, and foreign tech. One of them stared too long at Ethan's face, like scanning a file inside his own head. "We're looking for something valuable," the man said with a cold smile. "If you see it, don't touch it." Then he walked away without waiting for a reply. Ethan drove home fast. Aylin was hiding in the root cellar, under old blankets. "They're not men," she whispered. "They wear skin like clothes, but underneath, they're empty." That evening, Ethan checked his cameras. All footage from the past 24 hours? Gone. Hard drives wiped. Clean. Like nothing was ever recorded. Then, around 2 a.m., motion lights outside the barn flickered on. Ethan grabbed his shotgun again. Heart pounding. But the camera showed nothing. Just grass. Just fog. Just stillness. He stepped outside. And that's when he saw it. A shape human-like, standing in the middle of his field, not moving. Not breathing. No eyes. No mouth. Just smooth, pale skin. Like a mannequin left in the rain. And when Ethan blinked, it was gone. Just gone. Back inside. Aylin was crying. "I remember now," she said softly. "I remember the room they kept us in. The others, like me, some didn't escape. Some were the hunters." Ethan froze. "You mean they turned the others into those things?" She nodded. "They erased their minds, kept the bodies. Now they use them to track the ones who ran. You said they erase sound and heat, but we saw one. That means they want to be seen," she whispered. "They're warning us." The next morning, Ethan noticed claw marks on his barn door. Thin. Perfect. Not from animals. From something sharper than steel. And on the wood, written in a strange red ink, was one word: return. Ethan burned it off with his lighter, but he felt something inside shift. This was no longer just hiding. This was war. Later that day, while Aylin slept, Ethan drove to town to meet Jake again. "I need to know what that tracker chip really was," Ethan said. Jake hesitated, then pulled up some scans. That chip wasn't just tracking, it was copying her. Ethan leaned in. "Copying?" Jake nodded. "Recording voice, thoughts, patterns, even dreams. Like they were building another version of her somewhere." "Why?" Jake's face darkened. "Because the one they made broke the rules. She feels. She thinks. So now they want to replace her with a cleaner version." Ethan sat down hard. "They're not trying to find her. They're trying to erase her and upload the perfect copy." Jake whispered, "Which means your girl is the last one of her kind who's still real." That night, Ethan returned home. Aylin stood outside the barn, staring at the sky. "I'm not afraid anymore," she said. "If they come, I'll fight." "You said they trained you to obey. Can you fight back?" "I wasn't just trained to obey," she said. "I was also trained to protect. I just never had anyone worth protecting. She looked at him. And Ethan understood. This wasn't about running anymore. This was about choosing to stand together dash in the trees. Something watched. No sound, no smell, no emotion. But deep in its artificial brain, a new command echoed. Engage. Aelin was laughing. It was the first time Ethan had heard it. Not a fake trained smile. Not a programmed response. A real laugh, light, clumsy, unsure, but human. She had found an old music box in the attic. It was broken, out of tune. But when it played a soft, shaky melody, she laughed like it was the most beautiful thing in the world. Ethan stood at the doorway, just watching. You like music? He asked. She turned, smiling. I never heard anything like this before. Where I came from, there was no sound that didn't hurt. Then, without warning, she froze, and the smile disappeared. Her eyes rolled back. Her body went stiff, and she collapsed. Ethan ran to her, shouting her name. Aelin's body twitched violently on the floor. Her skin flickered between pale and glowing blue. Strange patterns appeared across her arms like circuits lighting up. Stop, please, she whispered, her voice glitching. Make it stop. Ethan held her tightly. What's happening? She was burning up. Sparks rose from her skin. Then she screamed long and sharp like something inside was being ripped apart. Ethan had never felt so helpless in his life. 10 minutes later, it stopped. She lay still, breathing heavily, her face pale and soaked in sweat. I think they tried to overwrite me, she said weakly. From a distance. Like remote control? She nodded. They want to shut down the part of me that feels. The part that loves this world. Ethan stared at her. You can love? I don't know what love means for sure, she whispered. But when I see you, my system stops calculating. I don't want to serve, I just want to stay. Later, Ethan called Jake again. Jake looked tense. Whatever they're doing, it's more than just tracking. They've started injecting neural viruses into her signal pattern. In English, please. Jake sighed. They're trying to crash her mind. Like a computer virus, but for a living brain. Can we block it? Maybe, Jake said. But she'd have to allow a full override basically. Give you control of her core system for a few minutes. Ethan glanced at Aelin. She nodded without fear. I trust you. Back at the cabin, Jake prepared the setup cables, scanners. A strange helmet-like device. Ethan hesitated. Will it hurt her? Not if we're fast. Aelin sat in the chair. Let's do it. If they break my mind, I'll forget who I am. I'd rather die with my thoughts than live like a blank puppet. The machine powered on. Ethan placed his hand on hers. I'll be here the whole time. Aelin smiled faintly. You always are. Inside her mind, Ethan saw flashes, memories that weren't his. White rooms, cold metal hands. Screams. Commands. Chains without chains. And the spark of light. A memory of sitting in Ethan's barn, listening to the rain. The warmth of a blanket. The smell of apples. Her first moment of peace. He held on to it. He pulled that memory forward. Used it like a shield. The virus recoiled. The signals weakened. Her breathing slowed. The circuits dimmed. And then, it was over. Jake stared at the monitor. You did it. You broke the connection. Ethan hugged her. You're free. At least for now. But Aelin didn't move. She was still. Too still. Jake frowned. Wait, something's wrong. Suddenly, Aelin opened her eyes, but they were fully glowing blue, and her voice wasn't hers. Override successful. New protocol installed. Subject compromised. Ethan stepped back in horror. No, this wasn't supposed to happen. Jake's voice cracked. They used the override tunnel, piggybacked in. Took control from inside. Aelin stood up like a machine. Her movements sharp, cold. Then, just as suddenly, she stopped. Her hands shook. Her eyes flickered. and her own voice returned. No, I won't let them. She screamed, fighting something inside her mind. Tears ran down her face, glowing like light through glass. I choose me, she shouted. I choose myself. The glow faded, and Aylin collapsed into Ethan's arms. Still. Breathing, still hers. They drove home in silence. Later that night, as Aylin lay resting, Ethan sat beside her with an old book of poetry. She looked at the words and smiled. Do all humans feel this much pain, just from being alive? Yes, Ethan said softly. But it means we're real. She turned her head toward him. I think I understand now. What? What it means to be human. She reached out and touched his hand, and for the first time, it wasn't glowing dot, it was just warm dot far above, in the cold stars, a signal. Blinked red, unit unstable, prepare termination order. And somewhere deep in the dark, the real hunter finally opened its eyes. The first sign wasn't sound dot, it was smell. Ethan stepped outside before dawn and caught a scent in the air, burnt metal, cold plastic, something chemical. Not smoke. Not fire dot, it was wrong dot, it was the scent of something not from Earth. He rushed back into the house. They've released it, Aylin said before he even spoke. Her voice was steady. What do you mean? The hunter, the real one. They don't call. They don't warn. They send it when everything else fails. Ethan stared at her. How do we fight it? We don't, she said. We run. They left before the sun fully rose dot, no time for breakfast. No time for goodbyes dot, just backpacks, an old truck, and fear chasing their shadows dot as the engine rumbled to life. Aylin touched the dashboard gently. Please don't break, she whispered to the machine. We need you. The truck's lights blinked once like it understood. They sped off down the dirt road, tires spitting dust into the morning air. Behind them, the birds didn't fly. They were already gone. By afternoon, they reached an old ranger station deep in the hills. It hadn't been used in years, wooden, half broken, but still standing. Ethan parked the truck behind a fallen tree. They went inside. Aylin scanned the air. Nothing yet, she said. But it's coming. I can feel the vacuum behind it. The what? When it moves, it pushes everything out of its way, air, heat, sound. That's how you know it's close. The world gets too quiet. Ethan loaded the shotgun again, knowing it wouldn't help. I won't let it take you. Aylin looked at him. It won't take me. It'll erase me. Then softer. That's worse. They stayed inside, lights off, watching the forest. But the sun didn't set right dot, it seemed slower, like time was bending dot. And when night finally came, the darkness was too dark dot, not natural dot, it was the hunter's veil. At 2 a.m., the radio crackled, even though it had no batteries. A mechanical voice whispered, subject located. Life form Ethan Walker, registered. Warning, obstruction equals termination. Ethan dropped the radio. Aylin stood up. We have to go, now. They ran back to the truck, but the tires were slashed dot long, perfect cuts. No prints. No sound, Ethan swore. Then we take the mountain path, he said. Aylin nodded, already moving. Behind them in the tree line, something watched dot, not walking, just shifting, like liquid metal in the shape of a man dot, it followed without footsteps. The path through the forest was rough. Branches tore at their clothes. Rocks twisted their ankles. The wind cut like knives. Aylin stumbled once, her strength flickering. Ethan helped her up. Leave me, she said. He looked at her like she'd spoken poison. Not a chance, but I'm slowing you down. He held her tighter. Then I'll slow down with you. Hours passed. The stars blinked above, but one of them wasn't a star dot, it moved. It watched dot, and it dropped closer dot. Suddenly, everything around them went silent dot, no wind dot, no trees creaking. Even the sound of their footsteps was gone. Ethan whispered, but heard nothing. Aylin gasped, but her mouth made no sound. They had entered the hunter zone. A shape appeared ahead. Not running, not chasing, just standing. Like it was waiting. It looked like a man, but too tall, too still, too wrong. Its face was smooth like plastic melted into skin. No eyes, no mouth, only emptiness. Aylin stopped. That's not a copy, she whispered. That's the original design. Ethan raised his shotgun. Move. The hunter took a step, not toward them, but into the air. It floated. Then flickered, teleporting a few feet closer. Ethan fired. The shot vanished into silence. The hunter didn't even blink. Aylin screamed, not in fear, but in command. The sound returned. Trees shook. Air rushed back. I remember now, she shouted. I was one of them, but I changed. She stepped forward, holding out her hands. I am not yours anymore. The hunter paused. Something in its code hesitated. Her glow returned soft, golden, not blue. Ethan watched as Aylin's body began to shine, not from tech, but something deeper. The forest lit up around her. The hunter twitched. It feared her. It moved back, then it vanished. They stood in silence, breathless. Ethan stepped to her. You scared it off. She was shaking. No, I only bought us time. He put his hand on her shoulder. Then we use it. At dawn, they found an old cave near the ridge. Aylin sat down, exhausted. I felt it scan me, she whispered. It knows what I am now. And? It's confused. It didn't expect me to resist. Ethan smiled. Maybe that's the human part. She looked at him. I think I'm more human than machine now. He nodded. Then we keep running. Until we stop being hunted. But high above them, a new signal pulsed. Level 2 protocol engaged. And somewhere in a lab far from Earth, an improved version of Aylin opened its eyes. She dreamed in color for the first time. Aylin stood in a sunlit field, barefoot, laughing as wind moved. Through tall grass. No walls. No commands. No pain. Just peace. Then her body flickered, and her voice changed. Override incomplete. Return to base. Her smile cracked. The dream shattered. She woke up screaming. Ethan rushed to her side, wiping sweat from her forehead. You're okay, he whispered. It was just a dream. No, Aylin gasped. It was a signal. He froze. A new version of me. It's awake. I felt it trying to take my place. Ethan looked into her glowing, terrified eyes. We have to stop this. They went to Jake 1 last time. His cabin was nearly destroyed. Drones had already searched it. Jake was waiting in his truck, engine running. I found we're there. Sending the override signals, he said, showing them a map. Underground satellite relay, military grade, remote, protected. Ethan nodded. We get in, we shut it down? Not that easy, Jake said. It's encoded to her DNA. Aylin is the only one who can override it. She looked down. Then I'll go. Ethan shook his head. You just barely survived the last one. Aylin looked at him, tired, determined. If I don't go, they'll overwrite me, forever. They drove for hours through desert roads. The mountains loomed ahead, sharp like broken teeth. As the sun dipped below the hills, they found the hidden entrance, a metal hatch in the ground, half buried by sand. Jake stayed with the truck. Ethan and Aylin went down. The tunnel was dark, cold, and humming with quiet power. Aylin held his hand tightly. This place feels like where I was made, she said. Like the walls remember me. Deep inside, they reached a steel door. On it, a glowing symbol, half human, half machine. Aylin stepped forward. The door scanned her. Identity, partial match, override key required. A pause. Then, begin internal conflict resolution. She gasped. It's asking me to choose. Choose what? Between me and the version they just made. Ethan stepped closer. Then make your choice. Inside the chamber, Aylin sat in a glass seat. A voice echoed from the walls. Upload complete. Personality ready. Confirm deletion of outdated version. She saw it then, a digital mirror dot in it, another Aelin, perfect, calm, cold, no scars. No emotion, just the design dot. It smiled. You were broken, the copy said. They fixed me. Aelin stood up. No, you're just quiet. I lived. The copy tilted its head. You felt fear, pain, attachment. That makes you weak. No, Aelin said, voice shaking. That makes me real. The walls lit up with warning red. Final. Decision required. Aelin turned to Ethan, standing outside the chamber. If I erase the program, she said, I might lose part of my code too. What part? The part they built me with, my strength, my speed, my protection systems. Ethan stared at her. You'll still be you? She nodded slowly. Just more human, then do it. She looked back at the system. Tears filled her glowing eyes. I'm not a machine anymore. She whispered. And pressed delete. The system screamed. Screen shattered. A pulse of light shook the entire underground base. Aelin collapsed. Ethan ran in, held her in his arms. Aelin. Her body was cold. No glow. No lights. Just stillness. For one long second. Nothing. Then a single slow breath. Her eyes opened. No more circuits. No more shimmer. Just deep violet eyes. Soft. Human. Did it work? She asked, voice shaking. Ethan smiled, hugging her tight. You chose yourself. That's all that matters. They climbed out as the sun began to rise. Jake whistled low. You look different. Aelin touched her chest. I feel heavier, slower, but it's mine now. Jake tossed her a small mirror. She looked. No flicker. No glitch. Just a girl with messy silver hair, tired eyes, and a real smile. Welcome to being human, Ethan said. But far across the sky, in a ship orbiting Earth, a red light turned green. Override failed. Organic host confirmed. A mechanical voice whispered, deploy final response. And in a dark chamber, the first version of Aelin never finished. Never stable opened its eyes. It didn't speak. It just screamed. It began with a sky split. No thunder. No warning, just a long, silent tear in the clouds, like someone had drawn a knife across the sky. From it, something fell, but it wasn't a meteor. It was her, or something wearing her face. Ethan and Aelin stood on the edge of the canyon, watching smoke rise where the object had crashed. She's here, Aelin whispered. Who? Ethan asked, though he already knew. The one they never finished. The version they locked away. The one without limits. Her hands trembled. She's not just a copy. She's a weapon. Back at the cabin, they prepared. Aelin took the clothes she felt most human in, jeans, boots, and the old hoodie Ethan had given her. Ethan loaded the last few shells into his shotgun. She looks like you? He asked. Aelin nodded. But without my fear, without my hope. She's missing your heart. Aelin smiled. That's our advantage. They followed the smoke to an open field. The grass had been burned in a perfect circle. At the center stood a girl taller than Aelin, but with the same silver hair and glowing eyes. She was barefoot. Her skin shimmered like metal under sunlight, and she wasn't breathing, not even pretending to be alive when she turned. Ethan felt ice in his blood. Same face. No soul. The copy spoke first. You chose weakness, it said to Aelin. You chose pain. I chose power. I chose freedom, Aelin replied. You let him change you. No, Aelin said softly. He reminded me who I already was. Without warning, the copy rushed forward too fast to see. Ethan fired, but the bullet turned to dust in midair. Aelin moved to block her, their bodies colliding with a sound like thunder. They flew apart, landing hard. The earth cracked beneath them. The fight was brutal. The copy was stronger, faster, like a machine designed only to destroy. But Aelin fought with memory. She fought with feeling. She remembered the music box, the taste of apples, The sound of rain. Every memory made her real. Every strike from the copy was colder than the last. You're not real. The copy hissed. You're broken. Aylin stood, bruised but unbending. No, she said, blood on her lips. I'm alive. Ethan saw it then, something the copy didn't. Aylin had scars. Flaws. Fear. But those made her strong. The copy had no weakness, but also no reason to fight. No soul to protect. Only code to follow. He shouted, Aylin, show her what she doesn't have. She turned toward him, nodded once, and stepped forward. The copy raised her hand for a final strike. But Aylin didn't block. She reached out slowly and hugged her, just like a human. The copy froze. The contact confused her system. Error. She whispered. No command for this, no purpose. Aylin spoke gently, her arms around her double. You're not a monster. You're just unfinished. For a second, the copy's glow faded. Her voice trembled. What am I? Aylin whispered. You could be anything, if you choose. Then silence, and the copy began to dissolve, not in pain but peace. She closed her eyes and vanished into light. Ethan ran to Aylin, pulling her close. You did it. No, she said. We did. She looked at the sky. The tear was gone. The clouds were whole again. The earth was quiet. But this time, not because of fear, because it was finally over. Weeks later, the grass grew back. Ethan rebuilt the barn. Ylin. Helped, still learning how to hammer a nail properly. They laughed. They cried. They lived. She no longer glowed. She no longer dreamed in code, only in color. One morning, as she stood barefoot in the field, she whispered, I'll be a good girl. I promise, just let me stay. Then she smiled, because this time no one was taking her away.